Welcome to The Growth Session with your host, Allison Meyer-Bond. Thank you so much for being here. Whether you're heading back to school, sending kids back to school, or just need a new routine after the summer chaos, stick around. We're going over routines this episode. There's something about the end of August that feels like a fresh start. It's kind of always felt that way, probably because of the school year, but the end of August just feels like a fresh start. I don't know if it's the new notebooks or the new planners or whatever it is, but it just feels like the time where something new is starting. Whether you're a college student who's going to be trying to survive their first semester, or you're a working parent who is going to be trying to juggle 17 different things, or you're just somebody who lost all sense of structure throughout the summer. Yeah, routines do matter. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about how to build a routine that actually works and that is actually realistic. Not like a Pinterest routine, certainly not a perfect routine, but a realistic one, and how to be flexible with it. I'm going to share how I built hours out for this upcoming school year. So for the college students, I don't know if this was probably just anxiety driven, but every semester when I would get my schedule, I would get it all set up and I would look at like the dates and times of the class and everything. I would sign into the portal and check things out. And especially my first semester at college entirely, and then when I transferred, before the classes actually started, I had that schedule printed out, and just because I'm extra, I had a campus map as well pulled up, and I would just kind of look at what buildings my classes were in and where they were on the map, and how far ahead of time do I need to leave to make it to class on time. And before classes actually started, we usually had like a day or 2 days or whatever that had some free time built in. And I would take the campus map and I would take my class schedule. And just so then I knew that I wouldn't be late on my first day of classes, I took a walk around campus, figured out where the dining halls were, figured out where all of my classes were, the lounges, the library, etc. I would just take a walk around and familiarize myself a little bit with the campus. And then I would walk into the first day of classes, the first week of classes, feeling like, okay, at least I have a general idea of where I'm going. And I don't know how it would have worked if I hadn't done that, but quite frankly, I feel like it would have ended with me like frantically looking at a campus map at like 8:59. My class starts at 9 and I'm freaking out. So it worked for me. So it took probably I would say maybe like an hour. So just like a little hint, if you're heading off to college, it's probably worth checking out the campus, familiarize yourself with where your classes are, and that's that. And for those friends that are taking online college classes, I think that the best thing you can do to prepare yourself for that is to make sure you can access all of the systems you need to access before the first day of classes. Make sure that, especially in your first semester, you can access your email. You can access any portals that you need to access, any learning management systems, whether it be Moodle, Canvas, Brightspace, etc. You want to make sure that you have access to all of the things, and you have contact information and syllabi and all of those important things. And speaking of syllabi, that brings me to my next point, which is usually for college classes, you will get your syllabi or your syllabus a week or two, maybe-ish early, hopefully. And if that is the case, read through the whole document. There are going to be some things that are kind of standard across all of the syllabi that you're going to receive that are just standard that have to be in there. However, read over the course descriptions, read over the learning objectives, because the learning objectives measure your success in the course. That is what you are supposed to be able to do at the end of that semester, and that's kind of your measurement of success. So just take a look at that and see where you need to prioritize what you're learning and what you're focusing on when you're in the class. And then you also usually, hopefully, will have a course schedule, kind of an outline of when things happen, when midterm exams are, final exams are. Some professors go as far as to have their assignments and such, and different modules and units, and even chapters for what needs to be read that week. It's incredible. So read through and just get comfortable with what is going to be expected of you out of each class. So then you could possibly buy yourself a nice little planner to celebrate the start of the school year. What I did for these different semesters was I took all of the syllabi and I pulled due dates, I pulled midterms, I pulled vacation dates, etc. And I took a little bit of time. I got myself a really cute planner, so then I would feel extra good about decorating it and about putting all of the things in it. When I would color code them, I would usually color code them for class sessions that I needed to be present for, and assignment due dates. And I had a different color if I was usually also working a job when I was in college, and then having like friend obligations and campus rescue obligations and other volunteer rescue things. So I would put all of it together in my planner, and I feel like carrying it around in my planner is so much more feasible and good for my mental health than trying to carry it all around in my brain, because that does not work for me. I need it like on paper or a Google Drive document or a Notion section or something like that. I need it not all up in my brain. There's a lot going on in there already, especially the week to week. I want just a general outline of the whole semester. I can plug and play other things and events as I need to, but spending that time preparing before the semester starts was top notch. It saved me. And because I mentioned planners, I just want to give a little nod to bullet journals. I have done bullet journaling in the past. I have seen some incredible bullet journal spreads, and it is a really awesome, artistic, creative way to put together a whole tracking system and a whole routine and a schedule and a planner and all of these different things. And I will say that it got like overwhelming for me. It got to be just a little bit too much time that I had to spend setting up the planner instead of just being able to input the information out of my brain. It just became like another task that I had to do. But if you have the time, if you have the creative ability, and if you want to create a custom planner for yourself, look into bullet journaling. It's really, really fun, and it's a cool creative outlet that you can use while also being productive and getting your planning done. So all of that to say, find a system that works for you. It doesn't have to be like the most aesthetically pleasing thing. Right now, and before this routine, for probably the last month or so, I've been running out of a notes app. If I have something in my brain, I just toss it in a notes app. So if that's what works for you, that's okay. But just have somewhere that you can put all the things from your brain so then they don't have to be carried around in your brain. And I'm going to be talking a little bit more about anchor points later on, but I always start my scheduling and routine creating with anchor points. So with anchor points, these are like non-negotiable things that have to happen. For example, when I was setting up my schedules for college, my class sessions were obviously non-negotiables. I had to be there. So a non-negotiable would be a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 a.m. class. I have to be there for that chunk of time, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. say. 9 to 11, I have to be there in that building for those couple of hours. So those chunks of time in between the anchor points are where you're able to be a little bit more selective about what you're actually choosing to do. It's just that the anchor points are the starting points for building out that schedule. And you just know that those anchor points are non-negotiable. You have to be there at that time. And I'll talk a little bit more about anchor points later on for working parents. So now that we've talked college students, I'm going to jump into making a routine for working parents. And I do know that college student, working parent, those might cross over, been there, done that. And if that is the case, a routine is an absolute must. Please be kind to yourself and don't try to carry all the things around in your brain. It's so much trying to balance those two things at once. So I'm going to talk working parent routine scheduling now. So first and foremost, I want to start off this section by saying something that I feel pretty strongly about. And it is that being a work-at-home mom is not the same thing as being a stay-at-home mom. Those are two very different things. And I need to keep reminding myself of that because sometimes I fall into kind of the trap of trying to do both things, but I can't be two things at once because I'll go crazy. I have a full-time job with meetings and deadlines and people that rely on me and all of the things. And childcare is also really confusing and expensive. And so it's just, I can't do all of the things all at once. So having a routine just settled down, that's what it has to be. And I am going into this next school year. I'm going to say it out loud, speak it into existence, all of the things. I'm going into this upcoming school year with clear, consistent, strong boundaries around our routine that we've decided on as a family and what that looks like for us and what that looks like for invitations to do other outside activities and etc. So I'm going to go into this school year maintaining strong boundaries around this is what we do during the week, during the school year, because it's what works best for us. And when we stray from routine, we always have such a hard time with that. And we can tell when we need to revisit the routine when we're feeling like increased frustration and feeling like, I can't believe I forgot this. I can't believe I didn't do this. And when we're feeling really frustrated with how things are being run around the house in general, sometimes it'll lead to my husband and I like just kind of be having a frustrated moment with each other and then being like, we're not even frustrated with each other. We're actually just frustrated with the fact that like nothing is running smoothly, but also it's our responsibility to make things run smoothly. So let's figure it out. We make it work, but when we know when things feel a little out of control, we have to revisit the routine. So we've revisited the routine. We have settled on something that we think is going to maybe work okay for the time being. It's something that we want to try out going into the school year. And it's okay, and it's not selfish, and it's not rude to hold strong boundaries around the routines that work best for you and your family. And I'm going to keep saying that out loud to myself. I hope you can repeat that to yourself too. I'm going to keep reminding myself of that because I know I'm going to forget it so quickly and start feeling guilty. But you do not have to feel guilty for setting routines and schedules and boundaries that work best for you and your kids. Because it's you and your kids. It's your family. You have to do what works best for you. And if that means turning down invitations to do things or to help people with things, etc., then it is what it is. Because you have to do what works best for your family. And speaking of what works best for our family, last year, especially at the end of the last school year, I had so much like mom guilt kind of, I guess, about Amelia going to the after school program. Because in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm working from home. I'm literally at my desk in our house and I'm sending her to an after school program instead of just having her get off the bus. I don't know why, I was like in such a rut with it. I think it was just such a rut of me feeling like I wasn't doing enough and I wasn't showing up enough and X, Y, and Z. But then like in hindsight, when I actually thought about it, Amelia would get off the bus and it would overlap with the last hour of my workday. But then Amelia would want to be hanging out with me and I would be trying to wrap up my workday. So then she's frustrated and I'm frustrated. And in hindsight, if I would have just sent her to the after school program, she would have had a great time making crafts and having snacks and playing with friends and learning how to deal with social situations and playing on the playground and playing in the gym and doing all of these things. When in reality, I was just being frustrated with her for the hour after her school day every day, which sucks. Like, that does not feel good to think back on. And going into this school year, there have been people in my life that have been like, you don't need to send her to the after school program, X, Y, and Z. But at the same time, I can't be two people at once. I can't do it. I can't, as much as I want to. Like, if I could figure out how to be two people at once, I would have done that so long ago. And it's not possible, unfortunately. So I'm going to be sending her, and that's okay. It's okay to rely on programs and people and organizations, etc., that can help with your kids, especially during the school year, especially when school and work and sports and all of the things are happening. It's okay. I'm going to keep telling myself it's okay. I don't need to feel guilty about it. Those programs are awesome, and Amelia loves going to them, so she's going to have an absolute blast. And to kind of finish this off, after school programs exist for working parents and parents that need that extra time to get their kid at the end of the school day. It's not anything to be ashamed of. It's a resource, and we don't have to be embarrassed about using resources that were made for us to use. It's okay. And as promised, we talked a little bit about those anchor points for college students, but for working parents, I'm going to talk a little bit about the anchor points that I used when creating our routine for this school year. So I know that Amelia has to be on the bus at 8 o'clock. I know that Tom is going to be at the babysitter between 7 and 7:15. So those are a couple anchor points. I know that before Amelia heads to school, she needs to take her medication. I know that my husband has to be out the door at a certain time to make it to work on time. So those are kind of all like anchor points. I feel like there are so many more anchor points and non-negotiables and things that have to happen now as an adult, as a working parent, than there were as a college student, but that is not for me to ponder right now. I can't. So not only that, I'm also trying to coordinate like one solid in-person day that I am not working from home. So we've kind of landed on Thursdays. That is my in-person day. That is a non-negotiable. That is an anchor point that we can work around. And we just kind of build it from there. Like I said, there are a lot more anchor points now as an adult, and we have less of those like gaps in between that we can be more picky about our time with. But if we have those consistent, like every day Amelia gets on the bus, except for my in-person day, which is an exception to that. We'll get into the exceptions. It's all good. But every day, just consistent things that happen that I don't have to think about happening throughout the week. It can just be like okay, today is a Tuesday. That means that on my lunch break, I toss stuff in the crock pot to have it done at the end of the day. Awesome. Every Tuesday, that's what I do. I really love a system. If there's something about me, I love a system. I love a routine. I love something that is just set in place. It is a rule that I don't have to think about, and that's what I'm doing. I love it. So if you can start with your anchor points throughout the week, I know that I'm going to be working from home Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. That means that Amelia is going to be getting on the bus those 4 days. We have the exception day, which is Thursday. That kind of throws everything off, but one like kind of thrown off, but still planned. But one sort of off day is way better than nothing being planned and every day feeling like an off day because I have no idea what the heck is happening. So one Thursday, that's kind of our weird day. That's fine. We planned for it. We don't have to think about all the craziness. We have a plan for it. So that is really, really nice. So the exceptions are going to happen, but start with your anchor points. We literally took a paper and pencil and I just wrote down the days of the week and I just started tossing things in that were like non-negotiables that we have to have Amelia at school. We have to take Tom to the babysitter. I have to be at work. My husband has to be at work. All non-negotiables. And then the spots in between is where we can get a little bit more creative. And I think working from home, I want to give a little nod to those like non-negotiables also being like a non-negotiable lunchtime. I'm really, really, really bad about like working through lunchtime, or when it comes to lunchtime, I'm like, oh, I can do X, Y, and Z instead of sitting down and eating my lunch. I'm really bad about it. And if you can, just kind of make sure that every day, say noon, whenever it fits into your work schedule, especially working from home, every day at noon, I am marking myself as away on Teams and I'm having lunch. And if I have like a virtual appointment or something at noon, then I shift it and my non-negotiable lunch is 12:30 on that day. But I always have like a 12 p.m. kind of cutoff where that is the time that I'm like shifting to take care of myself and my needs halfway through the day. And it's something that's so unbelievably, insanely, incredibly hard for me to stick to. If you know me, you know that. Working through lunch is a problem. And it's something that I'm going to try to be a lot more intentional about going into this school year, because having that anchor point in the middle of the day, I feel like is going to be so important, especially with all of the other anchor points that are happening throughout every single day. So those anchor points in the middle of the day, check in with myself, take care of myself. Again, putting it out into the world, holding myself accountable. That's my plan. I'm going to do it. So now that we've talked about college students and working parents and heading back to school, starting a new school year, all of that, I want to talk about some kind of rules of a good routine and things to look for when you're putting your routine together. And first of all, I want to say that you need to build it around who you actually are, not like this ideal, amazing, incredible, productive, awesome version of you that popped into your head in like the moment of optimism when you were filling out your planner. I promise I'm not judging. It's exactly what I have done every time I've gotten a new planner. Like right now, I have a planner that I'm trying really hard to use, but I'm really bad about it because I always set myself up with these like expectations and goals that are way beyond what I'm actually going to do, and then I get disappointed in myself, and then I just don't touch it again. Please, if you are right there with me, add a comment below to let me know, because oh wow, the amount of planners I have, and I know that other people do that too because I watch videos of people going through their notebooks because I love a notebook. But regardless, pick something that works for you, pick something that is realistic, actually take a look at what you're likely to do and what you're going to do instead of this ideal thing. So for example, I could put in my routine that every morning I'm going to wake up at 4:30 and I'm going to go out and I'm going to breathe the fresh air and make myself a nice coffee, and I'm going to do some stretching before the day and all of the things. That would be really great. That would probably honestly do wonders for me. And it's just like not me. It's not me. Some days it might be me when I'm feeling really, really good and I'm having a good week and I'm on top of things. If I did put that on my routine, it'd probably last like a day when I wake up at 4:30 and I'm fighting for my life, trying to wake up and understand that it's like the start of the day. It would probably last a day and then I would just not do it again. So it would just not work for me. I need to be honest with myself. And I have done that too many times in the past to know that I can't push myself with my routines. My routines need to fit me. I don't need to be like forced into my routine. So, with that being said, just build those things into your routine. Make the routine fit you. If you know that when you wake up in the morning, you need a full 20 minutes to process being awake before you hop in the shower or start getting ready for the day or pack your bag or head out the door or whatever, build that into your routine. It's not shameful. It's not anything. It's just realistic. And if you're someone like me that I can realistically, and what I usually end up doing is like 20 minutes before I have to leave, I hop up and throw stuff together and then head out the door. If I'm being realistic with myself, I would like to push myself a little bit more than that. I'd like to get up a little bit earlier so then I can actually like be a functioning human when I leave the house. And I know that I'm not going to be up 2 hours before I have to leave for the day doing all of the things. So I have to be honest with myself and just build it into the routine from the start so then I don't have to worry about it. And the next thing I look for is to make sure that I'm constantly seeing this routine as like a puzzle. If something doesn't fit, if something's not working for us, then I'm not going to like force the puzzle piece in. It just doesn't fit. When my husband and I get to a point where it happened last school year, when we got to a point where the routine was just like unpredictable and things were happening and we were missing things and dropping the ball and things falling between the cracks and all of that kind of stuff. When we kind of have that moment of like frustration, no, we're actually not upset with each other. We're just, the routine's not working. And so it is all flexible. It's supposed to be flexible. For example, I want to put in there that when I'm working from home, I'd like to wake up at 6:00. Maybe a little, probably not too early. It might be a little bit optimistic, but I'd like to wake up at 6:00. And if that doesn't work for me, if I'm kind of pushing more 6:30 on my work from home days, then I'll just adjust it. It doesn't have to be set in stone. It's not like carved into our refrigerator. That is what we have to do. It's literally going to be printed out and probably taped up there or with a magnet up there. And I think that the next really important part of this is to share it with people that like want to know what's going on with you and want to show up for you. I'm really, really bad at sharing what's going on in my life. Really, really bad about communicating with people about how I'm doing and what I need and just asking for help and et cetera, et cetera. So just being able to have this routine that's like set in stone, this is our weekly schedule, and we can send it to people in our lives, that is going to be a life changer. That's a game changer, because not only am I able to just like communicate in kind of one fell swoop the things that are going on with us throughout the week, it also is so helpful in keeping and holding boundaries. Because, for example, if somebody asked us to do something on a Thursday night and they have our schedule, we can just say, Oh, Thursday's actually Allison's in-person day, so since I work a little over an hour, about an hour and 10 minutes away from home, I am going to get back home a lot later than I would if I were working from home, obviously. So Thursday nights are kind of shot for us. They're not good for us. So being able to just like have that just like set in stone and all ready to go is really going to be nice, because it's going to be less for us to think about, less for me to be like anxiously communicating on a Sunday night when we don't have something figured out and whatever. We can just like know ahead of time. All of the plans are already set in place, and if there need to be the one-offs, then okay, but our routine is already sent out to the people that need to know it. And it has literally before just been like me jotting it down on a piece of paper and taking a picture of it. But it still gets the point across and it still serves its purpose. And it's not like bossy or needy or selfish or anything like that, because that's like what my brain is telling me is that, oh, that's so bossy to say this is our routine and this is, we're so set in it and blah blah blah. Obviously we can be flexible. Obviously there are going to be things that we want to do and that we would love to be invited to and go do together and all of that. There are going to be the one-offs, there are going to be the exceptions. And it's not selfish to say that, hey, this is our routine, this is what works best for our family, and we can't really stray from it too far because then things get wild for us. It's not selfish and it's not bossy and it's not like rude or anything like that. Especially as a working parent, I feel like I'm still trying to like get it through my head that I'm like a whole entire adult. I'm a whole entire mom. I have a house. I have X, Y, and Z. I have a job. I have all of these things. I feel like I'm still trying to like get it through my head, and it's not selfish to like be protective of a routine that works well for your family, and it's not selfish to communicate that with other people. Like, I have to protect myself and my family's well-being, so if this is a routine that works best for us, it's not selfish to not want to stray from that. It's just doing what's best for my family. I'm going to keep repeating that to myself. I'm just going to keep saying that over and over to myself because, oh, if there's something about me, I'm going to be feeling guilty about something. I'll figure something to feel guilty about, but regardless, I am just going to not feel guilty about. I'm going to have to not feel guilty about this one. I'm just going to have to make that choice because I know that this routine is going to work best for us. I know that this is going to be the least stress for my family. I know that Amelia is going to thrive in this routine. I know that Tom is going to just be a happy guy because that's just what he is. And it's going to be less stress on us. So I'm going to protect it and I'm going to do my best to not feel guilty about it. And I really genuinely hope the same for you. So the main takeaway of this is whether you're a college student that is like heading off to college for the first time, wondering if you're going to be that person like freaking out looking at a campus map, trying to figure out where your classes are, whether you're that person, whether you're a working parent that's looking at the academic calendar for like the school year, looking for school supplies and school clothes and child care for the young ones that don't go to school and all the things, if you fall anywhere in any of that, or if you just like a good routine and summer just like threw everything off and all routines completely just went out the window and being back to like reality of everybody being back to school and all of the things happening and you just need a routine, make a routine that is realistic for you. Make a routine that is flexible. Use your tools, use your resources, advocate for yourself, share your routine, and identify those anchor points and build from them. And you protect those non-negotiables. You kind of hold everything else sort of loosely and you adjust as you go. This week's episode is about routines and how to set up routines for the new school year and such. And since recording 2 days ago, our routine has changed 5 or 10 times. What is happening? It's fine. It's fluid. It's all good. So fall is starting and you don't have to have everything figured out before it begins, but if you just kind of like lay a little bit of a foundation as a kindness to yourself before things really kick into gear this school year, then I think that is best. Just try it out. Give it a shot. See what works. If a routine doesn't work for you, if you're a spontaneous type, but you still have those anchor points that you need to make it to, like work and such, then okay, make something that works for you. Make something that is realistic for you and adjust along the way. Be okay with change. Be okay with growth. Be okay with learning that you're not a 4:30 a.m. wake up time kind of girly, and instead you are just going to set a more realistic goal of a 6 a.m. wake up time. And just kind of keep in mind that a routine that is partially made, that's flexible, that's fluid, that's changing, still works better than just not having a plan or a routine at all. So thank you for watching this week's episode. We have spent the last couple of days making our routine for the upcoming school year, figuring out those anchor points, and dealing with all of the shock when we see how many anchor points there actually are and how many non-negotiables we need to work around. But it's been really helpful in the last couple of days to do that. So I wanted to make a quick episode on it. If you think that's something that would help for you, then I would definitely go ahead and do that. And yeah, I hope this episode is helpful for you. And if you feel comfortable, drop a comment below. What is the anchor point throughout your day that you cannot miss? I'm trying to make mine my lunchtime. I'm doing my best. And what is your anchor point that is like you cannot miss it? That's your non-negotiable to check in with yourself. What time of day do you kind of do that? Do you not do that? And do you need to start doing that? But yeah, if you'd like to leave a comment down below, that'd be awesome. If you'd like to share this with somebody that might be a little bit nervous going into the school year and juggling all of the things, share this with them and let them know routines are okay to be flexible. We're okay to try things out and not force the puzzle pieces. But yeah, if you'd like to share it with somebody, that would be awesome. And if you haven't seen last week's episode, I talk 5 tips on how to fix your resume, with a bonus tip, obviously. So if you'd like to check that out, that would be awesome. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so then you can get notified of my upcoming episodes. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching The Growth Session. If you'd like to subscribe and follow along, that would be awesome. I also am going to put my socials up on the screen if you'd like to check those out. Thanks.